The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
This week's episode of PSVG Prime is brought to you by the awesome Patreon supporters over at patreon.com/PSVG. Big thank yous to Coach Hulk, Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh Barboni, Chris M, Devin Tyus, Paul Calico, Kyle Heyman, Benny Lou, and Joel Voss, aka Professor Switch. So thank you to those Patreon supporters, but thank you to all of you. Each month, as Patreon supporters, you do get some benefits, believe it or not. Besides getting to hear my voice and Lucas's voice. And I almost said the benefit of listening to Donnie's voice, but that can't be true. So we'll move aside from that. But you do get PSVG DLC, our raunchy adult-rated podcast where you get to know a little bit about the darker side of PSVG, I guess you could say. You also get the newly reformatted Arcadia Academia, which the most recent episode was done especially for Paul Calico, where I covered Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game. And also the most recent Kevin Hates Everything is out as well, where it's hard to believe how one man could hate this, but Kevin hates toys. And I'll tell you all about it if you're a Patreon supporter over at patreon.com/PSVG. You not only get all that great stuff, but you also get entered into our monthly giveaways, which include in our little prize box this month a $20 Apex Legends credit, NBA 2K Playgrounds 2 on Nintendo Switch, or $20 to the eShop of your choosing. And then Lucas and I added a little something to that box. And it's a snazzy little black PSVG polo shirt that all the staff has, including Jason Lacey now, after much disgruntlement. But he's got it now, so that's all that matters. But to get in on all that action and to help support us, head over to patreon.com/PSVG. But now, on to this week's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of PSVG Prime, the flagship show of the PSVG Podcast Network and the only gaming podcast that's not dependent on illegal substances at all to do our jobs. It is I, your host, Kevin. With me this week, of course, is my lovely co-host, Mr. Lucas Rose.
Good evening. What? I don't know what you're referring to there. I don't understand.
We're not dependent on chemicals or substances. We're not. That's the truth.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, G Fuel notwithstanding, now that you are off the sauce, as it were. Congratulations.
Yep. Thank you. I'm drinking herbal tea right now.
Water. Right there with you, brother. Yep. Health kick.
See? Health kick. Thanks to Grouchy Surge. Shout out to Grouchy Surge. Lucas and I try things because we are peer pressured into things.
We are. I mean, he's so smart. He was like, oh, you guys want to lose weight? Well, you should just do what I do and try not eating.
Yeah, I know. I never thought of that. Like, didn't cross my mind once.
When he said that, I was like, what? And then my brain exploded.
Yeah, it's true. It's nuts. It's nuts.
I haven't eaten for a week.
Like,
speaking of which, guys, if you could just donate to Patreon so that I could eat. I mean, I let my family eat because they're important to me, but just a Snickers would be great.
I noticed the dog is still there, so that's good. Good time.
2 legs. We're down to 2 legs now.
So sad. So besides not eating, besides being hungry, how are you, Lucas?
I'm doing okay. Getting used to that single parent life. No, my wife's not, passed on. She went to work. She went back to work, as all teachers do.
So she's dead to you, is what you're saying.
Yes, I never see her, So other than that, just trying. It's tough to get the gaming in right now, man. Mm-hmm. My kids doesn't start school yet, so until that happens, it's like this weird month of where my wife goes back to work and I have both kids and they require all the attention at all times. So I actually was going to sit down and play a game today, as a matter of fact. And then the baby woke up and I'm like, well, never mind. I don't even know why I tried. So.
You're like, oh, crap, I have 2 kids, not 1. Darn it.
Pretty much. So
it is what it is.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I'm tired. Had a busy day, as we talked before we hit the record. So
yes, you were industrious today.
I am. It's because I'm a procrastinator. I knew I have to do all these things throughout the week, and I just choose to wait till the one day, and then suffer.
I mean, as long as you don't tell anyone, people just think you are normal and spread it out across a week's worth. Doing a week's worth of work in one day, is impressive. But to some people, that would give them a lot of pause for concern. They'd be I don't know how you handle that.
Right. Or they think, well, if he could do it all in one day, why can't he do it every day? And then it's a terrible mess.
That's true. So what I'm saying is don't tell anyone that you do it all in one day.
Okay, it's a good thing absolutely nobody listens to this then.
Yes, just between me and you.
That's good. So we do talk about games typically, and that's the kind of the whole premise of this. So let's talk a little about what we've been playing. So the little time we both have had to play, actually. Today was like the first day I got a good chunk of time in this afternoon.
Nice.
I'm playing all the same stuff. Dead Rising 4, I've made like tons of progress in that game today. I actually just streamed a whole bunch of it online. Still absolutely loving it. There's just something so satisfying of just mowing down hordes and hordes of zombies. Like I went on 1,000 combo killing spree earlier today.
Dang.
Yeah.
Zombie lives matter too, bro. Come on.
They do, and I need to end them all. That's why it matters. But it's really cool. So like this game, I feel like nobody talked about this game when it was out. Like it came out, people played it, I guess, but like nobody ever talked about it. The game runs phenomenal, which is insane. Like you think of that many things on screen at once, explosions, stuff flying, and it doesn't slow down, it doesn't lag, it does absolutely nothing. It's great. It's hilarious. It's fun to play, and it's just a satisfying loop. It's a big loop. Like, okay, you run to point A, you clear out point A, then you go to the next point, you clear out everything there. So it's very repetitive, but it doesn't bother me because it's just satisfying going through the motion. So
Ubisoft has never had a problem with repetitive gameplay. So,
well, this is Capcom though.
I know, but I'm just saying if it works for them, then why not? Why not Dead Rising 4? You said it's a little bit different than some of the other Dead Risings. So, I mean, in that aspect, I like the time management isn't a thing anymore.
No, I can spend as much time doing whatever I want. There's certain missions or objectives, like as you're traveling throughout the town or whatever, like you'll find survivors that are fending off zombies, and that you have like a time limit to help them, otherwise they die. But everything else, like your typical just gameplay mission, like, hey, head over to here and clear out this place. You can do it however you want. Or you could just, explore and don't even go to it for like hours, and it doesn't matter. So
it is very hard. I remember playing the original, and it's very like once something happens that you miss, I'm just like, I don't even want to play anymore because I'm the type of person who has to perfect everything and unlock everything. It's really hard for me to not do that. So it always turns me off. Gotta ask you. So you said there was improvised weapons and they're all crazy, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite that you've come across? Even if you can't use it a lot because it's hard to get or something, but.
So there's one I got today that you combine a dinosaur helmet mask.
I love it already.
Like a T-Rex head.
Yeah.
And chemicals. And you basically put it on your head, and it's like those beer hats that have like the things inside. So you have the dinosaur head over your head, and these two giant vats of like green smoking goo, and you just turn and you spit it at things. It's like acid.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's like stuff like that. There's you take a sledgehammer and attach grenades to it, so every time you hit things with hammers, it explodes.
Yeah, I remember you saying that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's just tons of stuff that you can get, like a mech suit almost, and not like a giant mech, just like almost like an Iron Man suit type thing, but it's a very limited time. And you could power those up with different elements. So I took one of those and I combined it with a slushy machine. And I could shoot icicles of slushy at zombies and freeze them, or I could punch them. Yeah, or I could punch them and they would just freeze. And then like the ultimate, like if you do like 20 combo in a row, I think you can do like an ultimate move, and he just like pounds the ground and like snow and frost just goes everywhere. It's nuts. It's absolutely insane. It's like Saints Row almost to an extent. Like it took the zombie genre but started making it ridiculous like Saints Row does with like the dubstep gun and stuff like that. It's like that but with zombies. So I like it.
Now, Kevin, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this question. How come this game can have a mech suit in it and you like it, but Apex Legends has one, or is it Apex or Fortnite?
Fortnite.
God, I get them all confused. Has one and suddenly you hate it. Like, come on, man.
The mech suit in Fortnite is
What's
like
the deal?
2 stories tall. It's bigger than the houses, and the one in Dead Rising you just wear, and you're not competing against somebody else in an unfair manage.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. The audience is going to ask.
It's all about perspective, really. It's all about perspective.
There you go.
Other than that, speaking of Apex, been playing that. There's a new event. They finally went live with the solo mode, where you can play individuals amongst the 60 or 66 other folks. That's a game changer for this game. So like you think of Apex and you're bred and raised in the game to learn how to play with a team of 3 and utilizing each other's special abilities and power ups and stuff like that in a good manner to work as a team. Now you're just dropped in by yourself. And I mean, some characters are pretty much like useless. Like their abilities do not help unless you have teammates. So it almost makes for an unfair advantage if you like a certain person.
I can see that. Yeah.
But it's tough as nails. I will say it's definitely a different environment because you can't run in guns blazing amongst a horde of people because you don't have people to back you up or resurrect you if you drop. Like you're just on your own. You're dead. I've done okay. I have not won solo, but I got second place twice so I was like screaming like at the end, like, oh, so close to getting it. But it is a lot of fun. They've made some changes to the map, finally added some new areas and such. And they have the Iron Crown event, where you can earn currency by competing in challenges and missions throughout the next week or so, to unlock special cosmetics and stuff like that. Like nothing that actually affects the game, just makes things visually different. So yeah, pretty fun. The one thing I will say is the last update has made matchmaking hard. So you could still play the team mode, the regular standard mode. I haven't been able to get into a regular game in the last 2 days. It just says there's 350 people like in queue and nothing ever happens. But if I back out and go into solo, you see it like 50 people in queue and then it hits 60 and the game starts. So I don't know what's going on, and I haven't tried it since I got home from work today. But even as of this morning, while we're recording, I could not do it. So that made me a little angry. Wolfenstein Youngblood, haven't been able to sync up with Donnie to play again, but I did find out. I don't know if it's because of the patches they've done to the game or it's the fact I dropped the difficulty down from like normal to easy, but there's still even like an easier mode than that. The game is so much more satisfying now. Like enemies do not take a full clip before dying. Like it just makes the game run and feel like a lot better. I'm able to do my power-ups. I'm able to level up my character, improve my guns, stuff like that. The gameplay is just much more enjoyable this way. And I did that solo. So I told Donnie, and we're going to try and stream it again once we can sync up our schedules and do it. He's not super excited to get back into it. I think it just left a bad taste in his mouth right from the start. Mm-hmm. So I may end up finishing it solo. We'll see what happens, but it's definitely much, much better and not like impossible to play anymore, which is good.
Interesting.
And then the last thing I'll hold off on because you also have played it, but I don't know if you know, Lucas, I actually beat this game.
Did you really? Wow.
I beat it today on my lunch break. I knew I was nearing the end, but I kept saying that I think for like the last couple of weeks, like, oh, I think I'm near the end, and the game just kept going. And it was like more and more levels. When I thought it would end, it's like, nope, there's still more. So I did beat it today, but I will hand things off to you in the meantime.
Okay. Well, I only have 2 other things then. One of which is ridiculous. Okay, so I did the Xbox Game Pass on PC.
Oh, sure.
PC Game Pass, I guess.
Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I did it because it was like $1 to sign up, and then I sort of forgot. But I kind of want to keep it around. I'm not really sure why, because I just said I don't have any time to play any games. However, one good thing has come across from this, and that's that there are games on there that my son and I can play together.
Oh, sure.
And so we actually use the Steam link, but then I am able to start other games besides Steam games upstairs in the living room. So that's really helpful. One, because it seems like it works better than actually coming down to my PC where it's hooked up to my TV. And 2, just because I don't feel like being in the basement all the time. But so he's getting a little tired of some of the like Lego games that we've played. And I talked about that Square Heroes or whatever.
Yep.
And he likes tractors, he likes big trucks, he likes semis and all the typical kid stuff around his age.
Would you say he likes big trucks and he cannot lie?
I don't think he's capable of lying, so okay. Yes, I would say that. So I don't know if you're familiar with a game called Spin Tires. I'm pretty sure it's on Steam.
No.
Okay, so if anybody is, this is basically the exact same game. It's called Mud Runner, and it is on this Game Pass thing. Basically, what you do is you control Soviet Russia-era vehicles in a Russian environment, basically, a wooded... there are some islands, too, but generally speaking, they're all, like, just wooded areas. And the whole point is that you have to make deliveries from one place to another. So far it's been trees. I think they're pretty much all the same, but you have to deliver logs to logging camps, and there's different obstacles in doing this. Like the routes will change because you can go through a route without logs, but to come back you can't go that same way because they don't allow anybody with logs through. I don't know why, but it's like a gate that they close off. Kind of like in real life, there's roads that semis aren't supposed to go down. Right, so that's basically what it is. And so he loves this game where you get in these trucks and you haul stuff around, and it's really just Sorry, my dog is just like crunching. I don't know if you can hear that, but he was just like crunching things on the ground.
He's eating your floor.
I think it's popcorn kernels.
Oh.
Good Lord. Well, when
you said this was Soviet Russia?
I think so, yeah.
In Soviet Russia, don't the cars drive you?
They do. They do.
All right.
But, that's a lot easier because they all have the same car. I can't remember what it's called, but literally they're only allowed to drive the same car. Look it up. I can't remember what it's called, but
like one single car or the same.
Yes, everyone has to fit in one car.
I mean, communist, everything belongs to everybody, right? So I mean,
that's true.
In socialist, yeah.
That's true. I like that. So yeah, you take these not always big rigs. Think of like military flatbed trucks and stuff like that, and you get them stuck in the mud. There's a whole physics engine for the tires, the suspension, the mud, friction. It's actually pretty impressive. I'm surprised more racing games, especially off-road racing games, don't have these physics models with water and mud. And you can actually see the more you drive through an area, the worse it gets because there's so many tire tracks. It's easy to get stuck inside of like a 2-track lane that you've already gone through, and then your tires are just spinning because there's nothing to grip onto. The way that you get out of this is with a winch, and you can attach that to trees and pull yourself up, or you can quick hop out of vehicles you've already unlocked, bring them along the same route, and then hook them up and pull things out like a tow truck or something.
Okay.
Yeah. And same thing with repairing it or getting gasoline to them. So, I mean, all these things that make a almost 4-year-old kid very excited to see giant construction vehicles basically doing, getting muddy and dirty, and I don't know. He really likes it. So the only problem is it's a little bit difficult for him to drive.
Based on all the mechanics you're saying, I could see that. Yeah.
He gets frustrated because he gets stuck a lot and stuff. So he was happy enough to watch me play it. So really, I did end up playing a lot of it, and there's no multiplayer. So it was surprisingly fun though. It was surprisingly fun. I don't know why. It's kind of like a Zen-like experience. The other game that I played is Hotline Miami. Now
with your son, right?
Yes, with my son. Yes, exactly. I had to explain to him what a killing streak is and mask murder.
He wore the mask, yeah.
He did. No, he's more of a horse guy. I think those are called centaurs, horse guys. So Hotline Miami. The reason why I bring this up is because on Twitter one day I was feeling silly, and I put a challenge out there and tagged. Did I tag you? I think I tagged you.
I don't remember this.
I don't remember who. Yeah, you do, because you were involved in it. 3 games to beat before the end of the.
Oh year. Yes. Okay. Yes.
So you were tagged in it at some point, but I didn't do that thing where I was like, tag 800 people on your list. I was like,
callow.
Yeah, callow. Gosh. So I did this thing where I listed 3 games and I challenged other people to list 3 games, and I'll send out an update eventually. But Hotline Miami, Chrono Trigger, and The Witcher 3 were all on my list.
Yep.
So Hotline Miami I've played before, but there's something, because it's so level based, it's really easy to just drop it and come back to it. But then it's it's easy to pick up but hard to master to a certain degree. Yeah. So when you put it down and then come back to it, you have to refamiliarize yourself with the controls.
Sure.
And I am playing with a controller on this one, and I think I like it better, actually. Because the twin stick shooter feel of using a controller works better for me than the top-down shooter of the mouse, because
Absolutely.
it's really easy to swing around with the joystick because you're just, or the analog stick, because you're just, quickly moving it around. With the mouse, you have to kind of swing it from screen to screen, like sides of the screen.
Yeah.
Easy to lose your reticle. I was very surprised by this, but yes, I will say the controller works better. And I've made some progress. I don't know how far along I am, but I'm farther than I've ever gotten before.
Nice.
So I foresee beating this eventually. And I love the music. I love the aesthetic. I love everything about it. I love the murder. Really into murder, like weirdly into murder.
Murder culture?
Exactly. Murder culture. Sounds like a weird like band that does synth music, but it's like
Murder Culture Club?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Oh boy. So yeah, I don't know what it is about this game, but I have the second one too. So that's kind of also where that comes from is I like this game. I've liked the aesthetic. I want to play the second one, but I feel like I can't until I play the first one, because even though it's so level based and everything, it actually has a story, somewhat story. So I want to know what's going on. So yeah, playing a bit of that and having a good old time. And then the last game, and I haven't played it as much as I want to, but I did pick it up and play it handheld, of all things, while we watched a movie that I already saw. Because usually I don't do that, but I was like, you know what? I've seen this darn movie 3 times. I don't need to see it again. I picked it up and played some Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. Nice. And it is slowly growing on me. It's funny to watch like Jason talk about it, because seems to have some of the same gripes that I had as I played it. And I will say that, it's like a good 7 for me right now.
Yes. Yep.
It's nothing amazing. You do have to look at where it came from and everything. But the more characters I unlock and the farther I get, the more, I think what it is just the more abilities you unlock is what really seems to make it kind of come together. So, I mean, I'm not regretting the fact that I bought it. I just wish I could play it more and play more of it multiplayer, because once you play multiplayer, you really start to appreciate the abilities of the other people, because the AI, I've saved videos where I'm just like, and the AI is just standing here doing nothing.
Yep. Yeah, that's my biggest gripe too. It's like I'm in the same boat. I'm like a 7.5, a little bit higher than you on it. But yeah, it's like I beat the story. I've played most of it actually handheld. Just because I play at work, so it just makes it easier. I don't have like a dock or anything I can use at work, because people would just stare at me if I did. I suppose I could technically, but I'd get looks. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm on break. Whatever.
Leave me alone.
Leave me alone. Close the door. Don't look at me. But it's I have fun with it. Like, and listening to Jason on Fluxwells actually today, I heard him and he was like pretty down on it. But I think it's the game does not do itself any favors as far as teaching you the nuances of it. The same problem he had about like always triggering the combo abilities instead of just your solo abilities. Like, I've run into that numerous times too. And then if you have a team, like, this took me a while too, where I had like Doctor Strange, who I like using him a lot. I noticed like I leveled up like almost his powers all the way, all 4 abilities, and like 2 of them would never be selectable for me, and I had no idea why, but it's because my team didn't have a combo with them. I was pressing the wrong button, and because there was no option for the combo, I never did the ability. So I was getting super frustrated until I realized
I
was like,
that as well.
Oh, I'm like, all right, now I get it. Like, now this makes sense. So yeah, as you get more characters and you kind of discover their abilities, it's fun.
Speaking of Doctor Strange, when we played together, I chose someone I never played as before. I was just trying to get somebody who was different and also went with the team, so I picked Scarlet Witch, and I actually really enjoyed her moveset.
She's good.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, she's similar to Doctor Strange. So once you get to that point where Doctor Strange comes out, they're both pretty similar in how they play. Their abilities are different, but they're both like same gameplay style.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll probably like him then too.
Yep, it's a lot of fun. So I beat it. Like I said, the story went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I kept thinking it was ending, and then like, and one more thing.
Was that a good thing or a bad thing? Were you like, oh, I just want this to be over, or oh, cool, there's more game to play?
I will. The final one, I was like, oh, cool, all right, this is going in a direction I didn't think it was going in. But, and this really isn't any spoilers because this has been publicized a lot, and I think I even brought it up. That final battle that you have to fight like every boss. Like you fight the whole Black Order, like one after one after one and one after one.
Oh man.
And then Thanos, like right after that. Yeah, Yes, that part kind of sucked. I was kind of like, I would love to have some gameplay in between boss battle. Like, it was just boss battle, you walk to the next boss battle. Like, there's nothing in between. I kind of wanted to break that up a little bit.
I could see that.
That was kind of my only gripe, but I'm happy with the way it ended. I probably will still buy the DLC because I want more story and the different story packs and the different heroes that are coming.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll keep playing it. It's good enough for me, basically. But I think once you learn the system mechanics and how upgrades work and what to do and what not to do, I think you can get a lot more enjoyment out of it. I think under the pressure that Jason is with limited game time and juggling that in Fire Emblem, I'm not sure he's going to get that satisfaction or get to that point.
Yeah.
It's tough to do.
I don't blame him, though. I would focus on Fire Emblem, too, so I really don't.
I agree with you there. So, but yeah, that's it.
Nice. Well, that's it for me for all of my games, really.
Cool. So one question for you, though. So you said you accidentally left the Game Pass thing on and you paid for it again.
Yeah.
Now, it's only $10 a month. With that in mind, would you consider stopping Humble Bundle monthly and switching to this because there's more games at your fingertips and they add more every month?
You know, if I think the only way I would stop Humble Bundle is if I got a string of games that I wasn't interested in, because they do tell you some of the early unlocks.
Yep.
And there was one I almost skipped because I already had 2 games. So like if that keeps happening and I don't get some things that I'm interested in, I could very well see like that happens 2 or 3 times in a row. Probably just start picking and choosing months by that point, because I mean, that's $22 for gaming a month, and I'm not going to play every game on Xbox Game Pass either.
Right.
So there's that too, but I'm also not playing every Humble Bundle game. The only difference is I actually own them, so I can come back and play them if I want to, but let's be honest, the likelihood of that, I have to pick and choose these days as to what I decide to focus on. So.
Nope. Agreed. All right. Well, that wraps up what we're playing. So enough of us talking. We're gonna listen to what you guys have to say. Some of you are kind enough to send in some questions, so it's time to check out the messages.
Message for you, sir.
First one comes from Bossman Don, which lit a spirited conversation over in the Discord there. He stole it from Mr. Sean Capri, but he says, with so many games near release, what are a highlight? I guess you're saying pick a highlight release that you're skipping out on in 2019 and why. So is there anything big coming out in 2019 that you acknowledge is big, Lucas, but you're like, nah, I'm going to wait?
You want to talk about what's big? Let's talk about, they brought up a good point. Borderlands 3. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence with this one. Like, not to just pick the easy stuff, but yeah, like, I don't know. I think about my experience with Borderlands 2, and I talked about it in Discord. I feel like I started that game like 10 times. Yes. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're starting a new character over and over and over, and you see that same frozen wasteland over and over, it starts to get a little bit just blah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I've never done well with multiplayer games anyway, especially when they don't feel... I feel like Borderlands is best played with at least one other person.
Yes.
Playing it by yourself is kind of meh.
You hit a part where it's just too hard.
Yeah.
And boring by yourself.
And especially if you choose to be a sniper, because then you pretty much kind of
you're
screw yourself. Other than that, like, I can't really think... Daemon X Machina... or that looks interesting to me, and I feel like I'm not going to pay attention to it at all because I'm not, and it's either going to be really great and I'm going to miss out, or it's going to be awful and then I'll be laughing all the way to the bank. But there's something about that game. I played the demo. I don't know why people are so upset about it, but I also don't feel the pull to play it, I guess.
Right.
So if it's good, I'll just be like, oh, man, yeah. Well, I don't think I have time to play that one anyways, because I still got to do Fire Emblem. I have Astral Chain is coming out, so that's kind of taking that spot. And then Zelda Link's Awakening. So I don't really see... And the funny thing is I probably won't buy any of these games. I'll probably get them from the library. So, like, even that said, I still will skip out on some of them. So definitely not really looking at anything to get right off the bat. Let me put it this way. My next 2 games that I definitely have pre-ordered are Doom Eternal and Star Wars Fallen Jedi.
Okay.
Or whatever. I think that's what it's called. Jedi Fallen Order.
Jedi, yeah.
There. I knew it was all that. Something like that. So those are the 2 games that I like for sure I'm going to play. Everything else is questionable.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat with you now. So I have Game Pass on Xbox, so I will have the benefit of getting the Xbox exclusives. So like Blair Witch I'm getting, Gears 5 I'm getting, the Outer Worlds, all that stuff I'm being able to get through Game Pass, so that I have more than enough to play. So with that being said, I likely will also wait on Borderlands 3 for the same reasons as you outlined too. Like I've started them numerous times and never actually gone forward and done anything with it. Daemon X Machina doesn't do anything for me as it is. What are some of the other big ones? Pokemon. Nope, I'm all set.
Yeah, I don't have any pull for that either.
Nope. Death Stranding is one that hurts me a little bit to be like, I really want to play that, but I don't know if it's going to be a day one purchase because there's just so much coming out. So I may wait and get that later, although PlayStation exclusives don't generally drop in price right away. So, yeah, I'm not sure.
What about Code Vein? I keep hearing about Code Vein. I don't really know what it is. Is that a big one? Are people looking forward to that? That's a Souls-like, right? A Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's a Bandai Namco Souls-like thing. So for me, absolutely not. It's being called a anime Dark Souls, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So even less interesting.
That could be either good or bad, depending. I still have the other Dark Souls-like games to play, like the Samurai one and what was the other one? There's another one that came out that I can't remember what it is. It's from Software, not the Samurai one, but they made another
Sekiro.
one. Shadows Die Twice. Yeah.
Yes,
So what's the other one?
That's the Samurai one. I don't know.
Neo. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, that one.
Is
Okay.
new.
Yeah.
Too many Japanese samurai people in games these days. What's going on?
That are all hardened in the same spirit. Yeah.
Overrepresentation. Come on.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. Like I will be playing like Luigi's Mansion 3. I definitely want that. Link's Awakening, I'm still kind of torn on. Like I definitely want to play it, but I also know how short it is, so I really don't want to pay $60 for that. Like that's my biggest gripe with that. Is like that doesn't seem like, oh yeah, we give you a dungeon builder. That's not enough to make it $60 for me. So I might wait on that one too and not jump right away. But Luigi's Mansion I definitely want, and I'll be playing all the Xbox stuff. Star Wars Fallen Order, I'll be playing that as well. So yeah, all right. So we're on the same train as Donnie and skipping Borderlands. So next question comes in from Mr. Sean Capri. How can you possibly speak critically about a game without critically upsetting someone beyond forgiveness? It seems increasingly more difficult to speak negatively about something without triggering an outrageous response.
And that question triggered.
It triggered somebody.
They were like, I am triggered by this question.
Yep. It's tough, I will say, because coming from me, who hates everything, people often get irritated with me whenever I try and give an opinion, because I think this is where it comes funny. So like the Kevin hates everything, like that's a parody, like that's me over exaggerating stuff. Clearly, like that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
But like in Discord, if somebody asks me about a game and I'm like, no, I'm not really into it, and I say why, everyone takes it as me just like crapping on a game, where it's like, no, I'm just merely stating why it's not for me. You can enjoy it, like Daemon X Machina. There's some people in our community that absolutely hype for it, and there's others that are like, meh. Yeah. I'm like, meh. I tried the demo. It's clearly 100% not a game for me. And when people ask why, I tell them why. And they're like, oh, well, you just hate everything. It's like,
you know who likes slow, crappy mech games? That Archie Tiger Shark Penny. Half of a penny.
Half of a penny.
Love you.
Yes, we love you. But yeah, it's hard. It's honestly hard. And when we do like actual game reviews, at first when we started doing them on PSVG, you almost felt obligated to say nice things, not necessarily give them a good score, but in like your actual conversation or writing about it, you'd make sure to highlight things that were good, which any critic, whether professional or amateur, should be doing that. You should be highlighting the pros and the cons, not just like crap on a game the entire time because of everything that's wrong with it. There has to be some, I mean, maybe there are some cases where nothing is good, but if there is something good, like call that out too. And I think a lot of people forget to do it, but I think in this world we live in, it's pretty much impossible to give your opinion about anything without somebody getting irritated and blowing it out of proportion. So you cannot, Sean Capri. That's my answer. You just can't.
Well, and I think that it's nice. I think that, I mean, this is a little bit overstating it, but I think that's a them problem and not a you problem. Because
Sure.
If other people can't handle criticism of things that aren't even theirs, then you're attaching. It's not a video game, a movie is not you. It's not your personality. It's not a piece of you. You can like it, but if somebody criticizes something you like, it doesn't mean you have to come to its defense. I mean, you can if you want, but to get triggered over it is a overreaction that I think has stemmed from the internet and, you know, not having to actually back your words up with anything other than swatting people, which is awful.
Oh God. Yeah.
And so it's also the responsibility, though, that said, of the person who's talking about whatever they're talking about to not be a troll. Like, if you're actually going to criticize something in a critical fashion and try to have an actual discussion about something, then it's important to do your research and not just make blanket statements or whatever, and also know what you're talking about, which is hard. It's very hard to do. And I think a lot of people ask themselves, well, why do I have to listen to what you have to say? What makes you better than me that you can voice your opinion on something and that's the, you know, the done deal? And I think that's kind of where it starts. It's like, well, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. Have you even played Dark Souls? I beat the game, you know, blah, blah, blah. And so that's kind of where I come from. It's like, basically the end point is the same. Like you said, you can't talk about it, but that's their problem as far as I'm concerned.
That's fair. You know? That's fair. I like the debate. Like, I honestly like the debate.
I do. Yeah, I do.
I don't want to fight with somebody, but I want to go back and forth and state opinions, and I want to hear theirs. And there's oftentimes where people turn me around on things, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I didn't think of that. And that type of spirited conversation I enjoy. But it's just when people shut down and just be like, oh yeah, well you're stupid. Like that's the fight back. Like that's when it irritates me. That's when it triggers me, because I'm like, really, you can't. I want to engage in this. I'm not trolling with my hate. I'm literally pointing out my opinion and what I dislike about this. And if you want to counteract that, that's fine. Let's do it. Like I'm open to that, you know. But people get butthurt about it.
But I like Pokemon, so shut up.
Yeah, Cubone's the best Pokemon.
How do you catch them all if they keep adding more? That's what I don't understand.
Well, if you recall, the new one, they don't let you catch them all. They reduce the number of catchable ones by like hundreds. And that's why people are angry with it.
Because of global extinction?
Yes. We've destroyed all of the natural habitat for the Pokemon.
Oh my gosh, you're catching them because they're going to go extinct.
Yep.
Dude, I never thought about it that way.
That's the new game, Pokemon Survival. That's what's coming out next year.
Ooh, you know what that means then? The next one after that is Pokemon Breeder, and I don't think I can be a part of that.
Well, they do that in the game, so it's kind of weird. Pokemon Extinction. All right, we're getting off topic here.
Michael Bay, a movie.
Oh God. That'd be great. Still have Ryan Reynolds voice Pikachu though. And
you'd want them to be aliens though. That'd be the only problem. I think they should all be aliens. What?
Yeah. And lots of explosions, but there's no explosions in Pokemon. But there needs to be.
There's now.
I make the money. So the last question we got comes in from Kyle. He asks, are we ever going to get a new SSX Tricky game? If so, when? If not, does anything even really matter anymore? So Lucas, first, have you played SSX Tricky? Because I don't know if you played that.
It's been, I think I played 3, and it's been since since it first came out, since my high school days.
Okay. Yeah.
That was the PS2. Tricky, right? Tricky is 3?
Tricky was 2. No, Tricky was 2.
2? What's 3? Maybe it was 2 then.
3 was just 3. SSX 3.
I think it was Tricky then.
Okay. The big afro guy in the cover?
I don't remember, dude. This was like 3 lifetimes ago.
Gosh.
I don't know.
I'm older than you.
That's true.
Kyle, I wish. I really wish, because I love the SSX games, except for the reboot they did, like 10 years ago at this point, a soft reboot, and it was like garbage. They tried to go realistic with it. I would love for them to do it, but I'm going to be realistic about it. I'm going to say, well, EA is kind of going away from the arcadey experience in almost every type of sports type of thing anyway. Yep. And if they were to do it, Kyle, I really don't want them to, because they loot box the hell out of this game.
Oh, God.
New costumes, new boards, it would be all that kind of stuff in loot boxes, and I really don't want it. So even if the developers were allowed to make it like the same team, I'd be excited, but then EA is gonna bury it with trying to make more money off of it. There's a big controversy right now with Apex where it's like, a cosmetic melee weapon could end up costing you something like $75. It serves no purpose in the game other than a cosmetic, but it costs like up to $75 to try and get it, where it's like, that makes no sense. So they would only do the same thing there. So I could see them possibly doing it, Kyle, but I hope that they don't, because I feel like they would just make it bad.
Well, here's what I think you do. Well, first of all, there was Steep. I mean, come on. Do we really need any other snowboarding game? And second of all, you take SSX, Ready to Rumble, and what was the Blitz? The football one? You put them all together into one arcades classic, remaster them all, and then put it out on one disc. And all three games are terrible because none of them had enough time given to them. What do you think?
Well, I like the idea, but there's one caveat. I don't know if you know. It's tricky.
Tricky?
It's tricky.
Tricky?
Yeah, it's tricky to rock a rhyme on time. It's tricky.
How is it though?
Tricky. All right, sorry folks. We had to do it. Couldn't leave it. The soundtrack.
We had to run a DMC. What can I say?
We did. The game soundtrack was just so good.
It's not going to happen. That's the other thing. How many games license music anymore? Besides Grand Theft Auto.
Madden still does.
All the sports games,
I think
basically.
all the sports games do, yeah. But they don't do, like I said, they don't do the arcadey stuff anymore, which I always thought were the fun. It's like NBA Street, NFL Blitz, NHL Hits. Like all those ones were, I had a lot of fun with those games. All the EA big games were great, and then they just went away. Don't know why. Like they didn't make enough to have it play out and sell bad. Like they just stopped doing it. It's like, oh.
That is weird.
Yeah.
It's like a genre that died.
Yeah, we should do a behind the scenes investigation. I think that's what we're gonna do.
I like it.
Find out what happened.
Who killed arcade
sports
games? We need a better title. That's immediately clear to me.
We'll put that in the think tank. If anybody has ideas, tweet at us at PSVG. Let us know. Thank you for your questions, everybody. So it's been a week, and with that, it's time for us to check out the news of the week.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite news outlet on the Citadel.
I guess I'll go first with a silly little one. I don't know if Nintendo Chat covered it or not because they just recorded last night, but I'm excited for this. And this is one of those instances of people being angry because I was happy about something like, well, this is stupid. Bobble sequel is coming to Nintendo Switch with 4-player co-op.
What?
Yep. The 33-year-old franchise Bobble 4 Friends will launch in Europe on November 19th, followed by North American in the first 3 months of 2020, aka Q1 2020. I don't know why they worded it that way. It is exclusive to Nintendo Switch. It's basically, it looks to be the same type of game. Like they're not really changing too much. It looks like there's like power-ups and stuff. But it's basically at the core the same type of game. Four characters though, and you play through the Bobble levels as much as you could. So looks fun. I'm excited because I don't consider Bust a Move, even though it has the Bobble guys in it. That was not enough for me. I wanted the original game.
It's not canon.
Nope.
It's weird. It kind of reminds me of like when they redo Tetris and it has like this slick interface and look to it.
Shiny. So very shiny.
Yeah, it's very shiny. I've never been a Bobble man myself, but this may change my mind. I might come around and try bobbling the bubbles, as they say.
I mean, I'm sure it's going to be terrible. We're just not going to remember it being good.
That's probably true. Who's making it? Anybody notable? Or just like
Taito.
Okay, they're the original, yeah.
Yeah, the original. So I mean, it might be good. I'm trying to stay cautiously optimistic.
Just don't be Konami about it, and then it'll be okay.
Right. I just want them to remix their original song. Like, all it needs is the soundtrack, and I'm good.
They need that OC remix with the
hillbilly version.
Hillbilly guy, yeah. Oh, nobody knows what we're talking about. All right. Well, that's exciting. You're excited for something. There's something novel about Kevin being excited for something.
I'm excited about the stupid things because what was the other announcement? I didn't put it in here, but Cooking Mama is getting a new game, and I'm like, yeah, all right, Cooking Mama, let's go.
I saw that, and there's like weird like blockchain cryptocurrency stuff going on.
I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's real or Tom Servo just trolling.
He linked it to a website.
Did he really? Oh, I didn't look at that.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't understand any of this. Do I make money playing this game? How does this work?
So I guess we'll find out.
Is Mama making that sweet Bitcoin? I don't know.
Crypto Mama cooking adventures.
I like that. I like it.
Oh yeah, that's all I got on that one. I was just excited to see that. So what you got?
Speaking of Nintendo, so Nintendo is cracking down on popular YouTube music channels. Can you believe this?
Yes.
Now they are. No surprise really, I guess, but they are notoriously they are notorious for making it difficult to get any of their older IPs for anything, like whether it's the actual game, the music, any of that stuff. I keep asking them to bring back Nintendo Power Magazine. They won't do it.
I wish.
Well, then they would just make games hard so that they can sell you the magazine to tell you how to get
the tips
and tricks. So yeah, basically there's been a couple different channels that have been shut down because of copyright strikes and all that stuff, because Nintendo was like, hey, we're going to just go after these guys. And I understand this is their property. They hold the copyrights and everything. But I know there's a lot of people who just go on YouTube and queue up a playlist of certain games or even just popular Nintendo games or whatever and listen to that music. Mm-hmm. So I know, like Caro, I feel like she would be very upset about this. How do you feel about it?
I once again, I get it, but it doesn't surprise me because Nintendo does this a lot. But yeah, it's like Caro has, and I think even Jason has it like in his browser where he can queue up the Animal Crossing music to play like in the background in the Chrome browser, like depending on the hour, just like it does in the game. In my mind, it's like you can put the copyright strikes on it if like they're gonna monetize the video, where you get the money if that happens. But if people just want to post it, if they're not doing anything to hurt the brand, I don't understand what the point is. Like, yes, I understand stop other people from making money for it. I'm A-okay with that. But if they're literally just posting the soundtrack that's not available for purchase anywhere, then what difference does that make?
I don't even know if that counts as distribution because you can't download it from YouTube.
Yeah, you can.
Well, I mean, there's ways, but who bothers to do that anyway when you can just go to a link and it starts playing? Speaking of link, I know there were some people who in the comments who were saying that a lot of the Zelda soundtracks are notoriously hard to get a hold of, especially if they were part of special packs or special releases of the game. So yeah, I mean, like you said, I get it, but it's kind of a jerk move.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Oh, to clarify too, they don't make it clear whether or not these were making money. I don't think they were, since they don't say one way or the other. I'm guessing they weren't making money off of it. So that's kind of unclear in this situation. But I think we're on the same page.
More as it develops.
Exactly.
Film at 11. THQ had some news this week. They announced some games, and the big one that got a lot of attention was actually Time Splitters. That a new Time Splitters game is being hinted that it's in development, and the series co-creator Steve Ellis has joined THQ Nordic to help plot out the future of the franchise. THQ Nordic got the rights to Time Splitters back in 2018 from Crytek, which everyone right away was like, oh my god, they're working on a new game. So it's good that they're hinting at it, and that the series co-creator is actually with that team. So that makes me optimistic, because I really enjoyed Time Splitters. But that was the one that got all the headlines, but that wasn't the only thing THQ talked about. They said they're deep in development on a new Saints Row game this past Wednesday. The game is untitled, does not have an announced release date, but the company calls it a full entry in the Saints Row series, so it's not like the Gat Out of Hell that followed after Saints Row 4, which I wasn't a huge fan of Saints Row 4. I felt it went too far. That was the one where it was like you were in the Matrix.
Yep,
I agree. Took it too far. Saints Row 3 I absolutely loved, so that one was like my favorite in the series. And Gat Out of Hell was okay, but that's the one where you literally go to hell and you fight demons and stuff. So it was, believe it or not, slightly more grounded than Saints Row 4, but it still wasn't as good. But then they did Agents of Mayhem, which a lot of people overlooked that one, where it was basically Saints Row, but they didn't make them gangsters. It was more like G.I. Joe. That one was really, really good, but a lot of people slept on that one. But yeah, so new Saints Row is on its way. The team who makes Homefront: The Revolution, Dambuster Studios, they are now in charge of Dead Island 2, which is pretty cool to see that they're still working with that franchise because that's been dormant for a while.
Yeah, that's been in the works for a long time. I remember seeing the video of the guy running and suddenly the zombies are coming up or whatever.
Yeah,
and
it was
wearing like white blazer or 80s white shorts or something. I don't remember.
Wasn't that the one Jack Black was doing the voice for it in the trailer, I think?
Oh, I don't remember. I haven't
I'll have
seen
to look it up.
It's been like years, 3 years. Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Jack Black was doing the voice at that time. I mean, who knows what's happening now. But.
Now, my only concern is, didn't Homefront: The Revolution, wasn't that horrible?
I don't think it was. I just don't think it sold well.
There was one game, and I want to say it was Homefront: The Revolution, that was plagued with bugs and just terrible gameplay.
Oh yeah, like 48%.
Yep.
So, but on PC, Homefront is rated higher than the Revolution. So, yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm just happy they're doing something with it because I really like the first Dead Island. That Dead Island Riptide, that one was not good. That was actually, for some reason, the graphics looked worse and it ran really bad. So I was really let down by that one. So hopefully they go back to it. But yeah, they have some other developers working on new IPs completely. And obviously THQ Nordic has acquired a racing game developer, the studio that's behind the Ride MotoGP, the MGXP series. So there's some new stuff coming from THQ Nordic as they continue to just absorb other people, but it looks like they're doing some cool things with some, I guess I could say iconic franchises. They may be not the greatest, but they're ones that people know, that they're still working on them. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Weren't they about to go under or something, or didn't they let go of a bunch of studios or something? I feel like THQ in general, like Nordic was the only one left standing, wasn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep. What else you got?
Let's see here. Okay, so I thought this was pretty interesting, and I actually kind of want your opinion on this because the author of the Metro books, released a tweet and that basically said he's working on the next Metro game, and along with that released an image of Metro Exodus with "to be continued" written in the bottom. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about. Well, I've heard some people talk about Exodus, and they said that it wasn't really as good as they thought it was going to be. Nope. Some people, it's like they either really liked it or they really didn't like it at all. So knowing that's surprising that they're even making another one, because usually 3 games. I feel like 3 games is enough usually.
Yeah.
How do you feel about this? Because Metro has always been that weird like game that nobody played, but it's $1.
Everybody has.
Yeah.
So I did play Metro Exodus, at least for a while, probably about 10 hours. I did not like it. Exodus, rather. The graphics were pretty good. I like what it tries to do, but the writing was so bad and the voice acting was so bad that it made the game almost annoying, and it made it feel more like a parody of itself. Like it was making fun of a Russian, type world.
I was gonna say sometimes I feel like those voice actors aren't Russian and they just get like do your best Russian, like that. It's like
exactly.
This is scary.
Yeah,
I'm offended.
I don't know enough about the Metro series. Like, were the other games based off books he wrote? Like, or did they just take that license and kind of go with it?
A little bit of both. Like Last Light wasn't based on, because the novels are like Metro 2034, then Metro 2035, and I was reading that Last Light wasn't really based on the novel that would line up with that. I think the first one was though, and then Exodus is partially based on it or something. He took the book and tied it into the game after the game was made, so it's kind of confusing as to how tied in it is. Yeah. But there is some links there, I guess.
So I guess what I would say is if he's a good writer, which I haven't read any of the books, so I don't know, but if he's a good enough writer to have this many books out, which you got to be at least okay, I would have more confidence in it, and I would have more faith in it that he would have a stronger grip hold, saying like, hey, if we're bringing him in to help us write this thing, we're going to do it right. And if he's writing dialogue in a good way and actually controlling like how it's being presented, then maybe he can make the series better. But like you said, after 3 games, are people really going to come around now and be like, oh, hey, it's good. It's good now, guys. After 4 games, like it's tough.
Well, I mean, this kind of, I never really thought about it this way before, but Metro kind of reminds me a little bit of The Witcher, because The Witcher was also kind of janky at first, especially the first one.
Yeah.
And then like it slowly got better. It's Polish, if I remember, so it's not an American game, and it's sort of the same thing here where it's slightly different, but it worked out for The Witcher because it felt different.
Yeah. I get if it's done right, I guess. But yeah, it's an interesting move. It's a bold move, Cotton.
It is a bold move. Let's see how this plays out. I'm sure. I mean, this game's probably 2 or 3 years away from being released, anyways.
Oh God, yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. And the good news is, by then we'll barely even remember what Metro Exodus was about. So
that's true.
It'll be time for another Metro game, I guess.
There you go. Somebody will be hyped for it, and it'll be on Game Pass, so I'll probably get to play it for free. So
true enough.
It's my humble bundle. Last story. I saved it for last because Donnie loves when I talk about these things because he still doesn't understand the relevance in the world. Dr. Disrespect knows how much Mixer paid Ninja to leave Twitch.
But is he telling though?
He's not giving the number, but he says it wasn't enough.
Oh.
So Dr. Disrespect took to Twitch on Wednesday to provide some commentary and his thoughts about Fortnite streamer Tyler Ninja Blevins' decision to jump to Mixer. He claims he knows how much the service paid Ninja to make the jump. In the stream, he takes aim at Ninja's decision, claiming that the popular streamer made the wrong move. He gets visibly worked up in the video and says he knows the number, referencing the amount Ninja paid him to move to the platform, although he does not provide it. One of the viewers even asked him in the stream to calm down.
Wow.
When it comes to the subscriber count, though, Dr. Disrespect now sits at the top spot on Twitch now that Ninja has left. In the stream, he refers to himself as number one and talks about having enough connections to know exactly how much Ninja Mixer paid Ninja for the exclusivity. According to him, he got a bad deal. He points to Twitch as the place that viewerships, sponsorships, and campaigns start, and Mixer, by comparison, doesn't have anything else to offer the viewers besides Ninja, which is kind of true if somebody's looking for a value add in Mixer. I can see that. Mm-hmm. According to Doc, the next most viewed channel on Mixer is a radio station. That is 100% true. I can vouch for that because every time you go on Mixer, you see that's what it is. Last week, though, he said in a stream that he would accept a similar deal if Mixer offered it to him. So there's a lot of people calling him a hypocrite, saying like, well, it's not enough. But here's the thing, and I'm going to come to Dr. Disrespect's defense here a little bit.
Uh-oh.
The Doc does not make anywhere near the money that Ninja does. So if it was a bad deal for Ninja, it could be the best deal that the Doc has ever faced. So, you got to look at it that way. Ninja has Red Bull sponsoring him. Like, he has all this other stuff going on that he makes a lot of money from. So he could probably take a hit to help build the brand or have faith in Xbox. I mean, we remember he was originally a pro Halo player, so he's going back, in air quotes, home. If he has some sort of input or influence on how that face of Xbox goes on, like, is it going to be Phil Spencer and Ninja we're talking about? Like, it's a given that I would think Ninja's at next E3, on Microsoft's main stage. Like, I just see this stuff happening that you could take a pay hit if you're going to be that branding going forward. That gives him more opportunities for sponsorships. Like, well, it's the guy who's the face of Xbox, kind of deal. So yeah, I'm with it. Apparently the number is not as high as we all thought it was when we were talking about it.
Here's the problem with Dr. Disrespect even getting a deal with Mixer. He's too much of a loose cannon and a maverick, and so I don't Microsoft. They don't know what they're getting, I would imagine. Now, I've never seen Dr. Disrespect in any of his shows, but I do kind of know his shtick, and because of that, they're essentially buying Borat, or something like that. And so,
sure, yeah,
that's a little scary. Like, do you want, look at, if just to give it some sort of equivalent, if Sony owned a streaming platform, would they really want to buy Dr. Disrespect and have that be the face of Sony? You know what I mean? Like, I don't see that happening. However, if they get in a comfortable position where Mixer is starting to gain traction and they're just looking for entertainers to come over, that's the space I see him in.
Yeah, I agree.
Not a face of Microsoft, so to speak.
I agree. He's very much a pro wrestler streaming a game. Like, that's what he comes out. Like, it's a total gimmick. He, refers to himself in third person. He takes phone calls in the middle of a stream from sponsors, but he takes it on his flip phone. He doesn't use smartphones. In his streams he's driving a Lamborghini, like all this kind of ridiculous stuff. That's what he does. Like he is an entertainer. Ninja just plays the game. It's just him. He doesn't do special effects. He doesn't do all that stuff. But Doc is all about the production. He's the WWE of streaming and esports. Right. So he's picked up, like, Call of Duty will sponsor him and fly him out to an event, and they put him on the mic to hear the kind of ridiculous trash talking he's going to say and stuff like that. And that works. But you're right. As a brand ambassador, I feel like he's more suited to, like, brand for a game than he would be for a company.
Yeah, he should be the face of the new Saints Row game they're making.
Right, like, yeah, that would be that would be perfect. But yeah, it's a weird thing. So yeah, apparently, I mean, bottom line is apparently the Ninja deal isn't as big as we all think it is. And honestly, yeah. I believe him because his connections and his friends with streamers, like, they all talk to each other. They all, do stuff and work together and do things. So yeah. I believe he knows that number. And I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't as high as we were thinking, but it's because Ninja has something in his back pocket to know that he's building up for something else.
That's what I was just going to say. Then why would he take it? That's the question. And so I guess that will be revealed in due time.
Only time will tell. But yes. That's all I got. You got anything else, Lucas?
No, not really. I mean, that's pretty much everything. I feel like it was kind of a slow news week from what I could see.
It was a little bit. There's a couple game announcements, things of that nature. A new Shantae game too, I guess, is coming. We didn't really mention that, but I'm sure Nintendo Chat covered it because Carol probably screamed about it. But Shantae games are really good, though. I will give that to 100%. Like, all joking aside, I really enjoy those games. They're excellent retro style platformers. But yeah, it's just like a lot of little indie game announcements. Hat in Time is coming to Nintendo Switch finally.
Yeah, I saw that.
Little things like that, but not anything like no blockbuster news. We're in that lull, I think, until we hit the fall when the games start dropping and there's more controversy. November. But yes. All right. So what do you say we get out of here?
Sounds good.
All right. Where can people find you and all the other shenanigans you're up to?
Well, I hang out like a bad habit in the Discord channels. Kind of going between PSVG and Flux to Pose, the other show in which is my first home. This is my second home. I have two houses because I'm rich like that.
Or you get kicked out of your house and you have to go sleep on somebody else's couch.
Really, you're right. It's really just two friends' houses that I stay in, metaphorically speaking. But yeah, so I do that show, and if you think I'm silly here, you should go check that out because it gets even worse. And I'm on Twitter every once in a while too. I'll respond to you if you at me at heavymetal_riff. With F's, not a PH. That would be weird.
Are you telling people to don't at you?
Don't not at me.
Okay.
Please.
I think I follow. All right. You can find me specifically at PSVG Kevin on Twitter. You can follow the show or the entire network at PSVG. You can head over to psvg.blog to find all of the links to everything that we do, all the different shows, all the subscribing feeds, all the Discord link, all that good stuff is all right there at your fingertips. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you for hopefully telling a friend. We hope you enjoyed this week's show, and we'll talk to you next week. But as always, remember that we will never
stop
gaming.
This has been a PSVG production. Any music, sound effects, or the like is owned by their respective copyright holders. No infringement is intended. The views expressed in this production are those of the individual contributor and may not necessarily reflect PSVG. This production may not be repurposed, reused, or redistributed without the express written consent of PSVG. PSVG is powered by patrons at patreon.com/PSVG. Become a patron to get special perks, including access to exclusive content.